Okay, my name is Camilla too, and I will be talking to you about the Axeman of New Orleans. He was a serial killer that brought terror to Louisiana for 18 months, leaving 6 dead and 6 injured. His crimes spanned from May 23rd, 1918 to October 27th, 1919. The only thing that soothed him was jazz. His trademark serial killer thing was that he would only attack victims while they were sleeping in their beds at night. He would also only use weapons that were on hand and in their homes and then leave them behind. The reason that he used an axe was because most people had wood-burning stoves at that time, therefore there was an axe at their home. The first crime that he committed was attacking Catherine and Joseph Maggio, who were struck by an axe and then their throats were cut by razor blades. Catherine was actually completely decapitated and Joseph survived, and this was stated in the book Italian Louisiana History, Heritage, and Tradition by Alan Geothorax in February 4th, 2014. This book talks about how Italians were in Louisiana and how they were treated back then. The second crime that was committed by the Axeman was Louis Bissumer and Anna Lowe. They were found by a baker who left him as a suspect, but the crime had no lead, so they just kind of let it go. The third crime that was committed, the third crime that was committed was Mrs. Ed Schneider, and she woke to her husband screaming and fighting the Axeman, and her husband died, but she survived and then gave birth a week after the attack, and this is said in the Encyclopedia of Unsolved Crimes by Michael Newton, July 1st, 2004, which talks about the history of killers all over the world and discusses their stories and the factors involved in their stories. The fourth crime was Joseph Romanio, who was found by his nieces while he was doing work in the garage area, which doesn't fit the crime spree thing that the Axeman did, but it was still supposedly the Axeman. He wrote a letter to the Times-Picayune saying basically that he wasn't a man, he was immortal, and that he was a shapeshifter, and that everybody should play jazz on one specific night, and then he wouldn't kill anybody. And as you might be able to tell, everybody did. They all played jazz that one night, and nobody was killed. After that, he attacked the Cormidugla family, who consisted of Rose, Charles, and Mary Cortimiglia. That's how you say it. And both the parents, Charles and Rose, survived, but Mary did not. She was 2 years old. The next victims were Sarah Lauman, and she was killed by someone who crawled through her window, and then she got knocked out by a blow to the back of the head, and then can't remember anything else from that night. And the last time the Axeman was ever recorded was in the family of Esther and Mike Pepitone. Mike died, but Esther survived. Mike was hit to the back of the head 18 times and survived 7 hours and then died. So the first theory as to who the Axeman was that not all the killings were actually the Axeman, they were different people. The second theory is that he was supernatural and he killed people with his powers. And the third theory was a man named Joseph Mumfre who would break into people's homes and tell them that he was the Axeman. And then he also was in an Italian blackmailing mafia, and every single one of the Axeman's victims were Italian, thus leading it to him. Even though there are theories as to who these people were, who the Axeman might have been, the crime, the story, the mystery, there we go, the mystery remains unsolved. And I got most of this information from a book called Cold Cases, published July 14, 2010 by Helena Katz, and it talks about the Axeman and all of his attacks.